Are you one of those people where fall is your favorite season, where you love Halloween, you love the leaves falling off the trees, you love going to the orchard, picking apples and picking pumpkins to bring back home to your family and setting out as decorations and just dressing up your house in the Halloween, getting into the Halloween mood and the fall season mood? Well, so are we. So right now we have pumpkin spice plant-based protein, all vegan plant-based protein with a pumpkin spice kick to it. So we have that, and we also got in brand new DTE, which is the version 2, which is a new formula that Run Everything Labs has put together and has a little bit more caffeine, has a little bit more fat burning properties. So you can go ahead and look into that. And then also we got the REM, the Rest Every Muscle supplement, which actually helps you sleep at night and put you into that REM sleep, so then that way you can wake up feeling good, feeling recovered, and being ready to just take on your day, because you should always have good days, no matter what. So go to stnutrition.com, and if you want to save some money, type in fall10, FALL and the number 10, and you can actually save 10% on your order. And, just to help you out a little bit. So try that pumpkin spice. Let me know how you like it. All right. So today's guest is a longtime friend of me and my wife's, and I've been training her for about a couple years. I'm one of many of her coaches. I'm the strength and conditioning coach. And she happens to be a mixed martial arts fighter. Like, how many people that actually fight in a cage? So she's 4-0. She just won her last fight, and that's why I wanted to have her on. I wanted to have her on to talk about what was going through her head, what was going through her mind in those moments of that fight. And which is why I wanted to talk to her after the fight had already happened. Just to see where her head's at right now, to see where her emotions at, and all those different types of things. And you get a good look into it. We had a pretty in-depth talk about her game plan and what she wanted to do and what she's planning to do for the future. So I hope you all enjoy it. This is Rebecca the Giraffe Evans. So, how you feel?
Like I just ate a bunch of candy, because I did.
after all the training and all that kind of stuff, you kind of had a finish that was pretty easy. You know what I mean? Easier than your other ones, I would say. You know what I mean? Because you definitely had all 3 rounds. It wasn't a question.
I wouldn't say easy. I would say dominant.
Yeah.
Because if it was easy, I would. It would be almost like I wasn't needing to try, but I was trying. She brought it.
Yeah.
She took a lot more damage than I thought she would take.
Right.
That's for sure. And she stuck with it. And was she trying to do a bunch of stuff at the end? I wouldn't say so. So I would call it dominant instead of easy. I think that would be a better way to describe that win, especially with how the scorecards played out.
Right.
So because one judge originally scored it all 3 rounds 10-8.
Right.
Which is what I wanted. My thought is, if I wasn't going to get some sort of a knockout or submission or whatever the finish was, that a 10-8 round, all 3 rounds, is the way that I need to go in there. Because we go in and the mindset that we've trained is to go in and only one person is leaving the cage. And that was my mindset heading in there. Is I don't want a knockout. I want to kill her. Because you have to have that kill instinct to just be nonstop aggressive the entire time.
Right.
So I prefer dominant over saying it was an easy win. If it was an easy win, I would have finished it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, that's how I feel with that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think what made it so much more dominant is I didn't underestimate her one bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we trained every part of that game, from the stand-up to the grappling to the, you know, wrestling escapes, working all those different aspects in it. And had we not have done that after in the first round, there was that headbutt that ended up, we collided and went to the ground.
Oh, is that what it was? I thought you tripped or something.
No, it was a headbutt. It was a headbutt. And I didn't realize it during the fight. It was just, as soon as it went to the ground, I got to work, because that's what we trained.
Right.
And someone at work Monday morning was like, yeah, I saw that headbutt. And, you know, I was really worried about it. I was like, what do you mean a headbutt? I'm like, what headbutt? So Flow Combat had the replay of the fight up already. So I watched it right before lunchtime, because I wanted to watch it before I showed any of my coworkers, just so I could get my initial look at it and start, because I know I would be critiquing it,
mm-hmm.
you know, because I'm never satisfied with how my fights go, no matter what. And if I ever am, that's when I'm done. And they actually did the commentary on it, and they go, oh, you know, the accidental headbutt. And it absolutely was. It was absolutely accidental. And I had to replay it a couple of times. And what happened was, it looked like we had been striking. Both of us didn't have quite a good base, and she stumbled, went in her forehead, because of our height difference. Her forehead went into my chin.
Oh, okay.
Which is where I was like, man, she must have landed something good, because my chin hurt. It never bruised up, but it felt bruised. And from there, the momentum going down, she landed on top, and then she started going work from mount, which is something that we saw in her last fight, that she got on top of the girl, would either take this high mount, or she would pin one of the girl's arms with her leg, so she only had, you know, basically one hand to protect herself with. So that was an exact scenario that we drilled countless times, and I was able to get back up. She started to work the elbows, but I was able to cover up properly, get myself out, get myself back into a good standing position, and get back into striking. It was all from that accidental headbutt. But that was one of the things that we drilled a lot of, was that mount escape, to either completely roll her over. What I ended up doing was being able to use half of a mount escape that we had been practicing, tied in with the wrestling I've been working on, and get myself back up to my feet.
So which point in, because I can't remember if it was like in the second or third round, where like she literally looked like she was running from you. So is there a point in the fight where you're like, oh shit, I'm dominant, like this is mine?
First round. So in the first round, the initial start to it, going out, we traded a couple punches, but I know I landed a heavy shot, and that's when she started backing up and I started going in. And the referee started to warn her. And what referees will do in MMA
Is that the
fight,
one that knocked her down?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, that was actually later in the first round.
Okay.
So I would say probably within the first 20, 30 seconds was when I was able to land a couple of good clean shots that started backing her up. And the ref had said, what a referee will do in MMA, they'll say, they'll call your corner color and tell you to defend. So she was blue corner. She said blue, defend, blue, defend. And he repeated it twice. Now, from my experience in Pennsylvania with the way that they run with the amateurs, is they warn you twice. And if the referee feels like you haven't, you know, begun to fight back or put yourself in a better position, they will then step in and it will be ruled a technical knockout by referee stoppage. In Virginia, what it seems like what they'll do is, if it goes beyond the two, and say you move out of the way, you somehow defend, you strike back or whatever, it's almost like it resets itself, where in Pennsylvania it wouldn't do that. So once I heard the referee say blue defend on that second one, that's when I started going in on her. Yeah. And I heard I guess she was able to step out and move away from the back of the cage. And then he called it a couple more times. And so I realized, and we were prepared for this. We had seen a couple of fights down in Virginia, and they do tend to let them go a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So that was definitely in our mind that we knew, you don't stop until the referee either steps in front of you. Always be prepared to go the full length.
Right.
That's always been one of our things, is no matter what, like, don't get yourself so hyped up that, oh yeah, the referee's going to come in and stop. But you have to just be at this even level playing the whole time.
Yeah.
So that you're not getting yourself too emotional and you're on this whole like roller coaster. Mm-hmm. You just want to stay nice and even the whole time. That's something that we trained. And it was in the first round she started running. The second round I felt a lot of that because I think we had some more striking, and that's why she ended up trying to pin me to the cage low, right, where I was able to still throw a lot of strikes to her head. Excuse me. So it didn't necessarily put her in a great position, but it allowed her to kind of tuck her head a little bit, right, where it still maybe it didn't make her look very active, which is why at the end of the third round, the referee stopped it and reset us. Mm-hmm. And she kept grabbing the cage. Right. So that was something that the ref yelled at her quite a few times towards the end of the first round, a lot in the second, and then by the third, I think he was just over it. And
that's why he took a point.
That's why he took a point. But at the end of the third round, he just stopped calling it, and he would start swatting her hand away from the. And I saw that at the end of the third round, he was just smacking her hand the whole time. Because even in my head, I was like, in the first or second round, I can't remember when. I was like, when is he going to take this point? Because usually they'll stop the fight and they'll walk around. But I think he realized at that point I had won, so it didn't really make a difference. Yeah. But he's still going to take the point because if you watch the replay video, towards the end of the third round, he looks at the woman who's the head of the commission and like I'm going to take the point. So after the third round had ended, he grabbed her right away. In my head, I didn't realize he was taking the point. I was like, oh, cool, they have the decision ready. So I almost started walking forward, but then I saw that he was taking around to each of the judges and saying, deduct the 1 point. So on the scorecards, it even from the original score, take away that point, it really makes me look extremely dominant at that point with that decision. So
I had to laugh because when the refs grabbed both their hands, she raised her hand. Like, I'm like, what? You really thought you had a chance?
Sean had pointed that out, too, before I had rewatched it. He goes, that made him laugh as well.
Oh, yeah, I was dying.
He was like, I don't know what she was thinking.
Me either.
But
maybe she just saw it on UFC or
something. So there's certain ways that you can, I don't want to say necessarily that you're swaying the judges, but...
Oh, there's nothing she could have done.
But at the end of rounds, you'll see a lot of fighters... raising their hand. Right. It's more of a positive body language thing. Well, they'll raise their hand. They'll pop up right away. They want to make sure they look fresh. They don't look like they've been hurt or anything like that. Right. So I could see someone doing it that way. Yeah, that makes sense because you're trying to show, I'm good, I'm ready to go. And a lot of times, if a judge hadn't yet written down their score for that particular round, they might go, okay, so maybe they didn't get hurt as much as I thought. Mm-hmm. Little ways to sway judges or referees and things like that. But to do it at the end like that, there was no doubt in my mind that I had won that fight. Yeah. Granted, I knew mid rounds, I'm like, okay, being against the fence or against the cage isn't a great spot to be. However, I'm still actively being able to throw strikes to the body and to the head.
Knees to the face, you had everything. Yeah. Kicks.
Yeah, I heard it. I think it was the second round. I landed one of the knees to her face because that was one of the things that we had practice as well, is the way that I was able to whizzer her arm and post on her head to throw the knee. One of the guys, I don't know if he was a judge or he was just a closer sitting person to the cage. He goes, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Damn right, oh shit."
Yeah, because then you also comboed that with a couple punches after, and I was like, "Oh, here we go."
Yeah, that was the knockdown in the first round. So she had me against the cage. I framed off, threw an elbow as I framed off. Landed the knee, and as she came back up, she was already on her heels. So it wasn't even it was still a good shot. And of course, I want to say it was a heavy shot by me, but it didn't necessarily have to be a heavy shot. But it landed her right on her back, and that allowed me to get down and land some hammer fists and ground and pound. So I was pretty happy with that because I've never gotten really to be able to do full ground and pound.
Yeah. So it's hard to say, do you feel like you learned anything from this fight? You can really go back and look at it and say, okay, what can I... Because she didn't really put up too much of a fight.
So, Yeah, absolutely. Like you learn everything in different fight, like different from each fight. You learn things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
So my past couple of fights, there was a lot of just dumb mistakes, just like silly things. Like I shouldn't have done that. I should have done this. This fight was a little bit different because it wasn't so much I was doing dumb mistakes as there were more missed opportunities or better ways to do things. So, a couple of things that we had been working on, that one, following the game plan the way that we wanted to, being able to use the things that we drilled and practiced in the fight. Those are two of the things I'm really not necessarily proud of, but I'm glad I was able to actually show them for once. Right. The improvement in my striking, understanding my range and my distance, that's something that to be able to go from not really having an understanding of it to 6 weeks later being able to not have it 100%, but a good improvement from the last fight. So from this time around, watching the fight, I get less frustrated on the mistakes because I didn't see quite as many mistakes. It was more, instead of throwing that punch, I should have thrown elbows, or I should have thrown less straight punches and I could have thrown some more uppercuts and upsets, which is honestly one of my signature things that I do, at least in the first 3 fights. I'm like, I don't think I threw a single upset or uppercut punch this fight. But I was very focused on trying to manage my range and my distance, so I was trying to throw longer shots. Mm-hmm. So I was like, glad that I improved here. However, still working towards cleaning that striking up and making it a little bit better.
Right.
So looking at the missed opportunities, I'm like, there's certain spots that had I landed a different shot instead, who knows what the outcome of the fight had been. Yeah. And there was different things, like we worked a lot of defeating underhooks of her coming up high in the body and upper body clinches and things like that. We weren't necessarily expecting her to try to go for these single leg, double leg attempts against the cage. So while I wasn't super active against the cage, it was still, I'm not saying it's super active, but it wasn't as exciting to see working off the cage.
Right.
But it was a smart move to do, because had I tried to do something to really force my way out, that could have ended with me getting taken down, which would look poor in my favor, versus being able to use the cage, hold myself there, and be able to still actively throw the strikes. So looking at more of those opportunities is what we'll continue to work on. We've already picked up a couple of things that we're initially work on, help get myself to correct those and build things more into muscle memory. Yeah. Because when you're fighting, I can't tell you, like when I spar, I'm like, okay, I'm going to throw XYZ combination.
Yeah.
When you fight, your adrenaline's going so much, you have to go on what is instinctual.
Right.
So I have a couple of combinations that are just instinctual, and I understand them, and that's what I use, and I just need to, build more of that up.
Yeah. And I mean, I was kind of nervous because you looked tired really quick, because I was like, oh man, because then, those moments would happen with that girl, like she would be in a position and you would just get, it's like one of those eye-opening moments, and you're just like, oh man, and you got boom, 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 you have a flurry of punches going, and then I could tell you started to get tired. I was like, oh shit, you know what I mean? And it made me think, I'm like, oh, we should have worked on this, we should have done this, all this stuff going through my head.
So that was actually one of the things. So like, and if you listen to the commentary of the fight, they're like, man, Becca used a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And then when we came out,
then you had the same energy.
Yeah, I had to say, they're like, oh, guess she's not tired.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that's like, I definitely felt significantly stronger, and that is 100% you. That was the strongest I've felt in any fight. Just in general, I felt my conditioning was just on another level. What got me a little bit was because I heard the ref go, blue defend.
Right.
It's like I worked the sprints with my running and stuff like that, but I didn't necessarily work sprints with my arms, which that's more of me needing to do some more bag work, which last fight camp, which didn't turn out to fight just because we had some changes in the schedule and stuff like that, I did a lot of bag work for that because I was trying to build up more of the muscle memory of different combinations. However, for me to fit time in for that bag work means waking up another morning at 4 a.m. When I've gone to bed at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So throughout camp, I'm like, I'm not doing as much bag work as I would like, but I know I need my sleep. Right. So it was a catch-22. I wish I could have gotten more bag work in, because I think that would have probably helped. But at the same time, I was also significantly less tired and fatigued for the whole camp as a whole, and I felt really good. Right. Which I think was changing up my nutrition a little bit, along with getting more sleep. Because when I don't get sleep, I'm the crankiest person in the world.
Everyone is.
It doesn't matter how hungry I am; it's how tired I am.
Right.
So one of my goals going forward is to fit in some more of that bag work, and you do it just like you do sprints on a treadmill. You keep that constant, whatever combination you're working on, and then 15, 20 seconds, you just let it go. Right. And you have to build up the same kind of fast twitch muscle as you would with your legs as you do with your arms. Because that was something that Sean and I were talking about. I was like, like my arms were tired. I'm like, the rest of me didn't feel tired. Right. So it was like, it wasn't so much that it really stopped the entire performance of the fight, but like coming out of that first round, because I was like, oh, okay, the ref's gonna step in here. Yeah. Let's let it go. Right. So like I can keep a constant pressure. That's one thing, but being able to kind of do that sprint with your arms and let your hands go, it does take a lot out of you, especially when you have the adrenaline behind you and also
since those last couple of fights, it seems like you've been standing up a lot more.
And like so that was one of the things like with this fight that we wanted to work on. Was my problem is, I have every intention of, wanting to throw a kick or wanting to strike or wanting to do this or that. However, it's like, I don't have breaks. Mm-hmm. So I come out, it's like I come out too fast and too heavy. Right. Or not heavy enough, excuse me. So I end up so close that I land a strike or two, but then immediately I'm clinching. Like if you watch my third fight, it's all in the clinch. Right. Which that took a lot of energy out of me just because of controlling and really having to use that strength against her. Dominant control the whole time, but not a lot of actual striking. So with this fight, that was one of the things that we really worked on, was how do I stop myself from, how do I teach myself to, have some breaks to go out so that when I get out there, I'm not falling into her. Right. So this was able to show some more striking, and it's been hard. It's hard for me to, go out and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to do a takedown, I'm going to do this or that, because I'm so much taller than all the other girls. Mm-hmm. For me to say change levels and, do a leg takedown on someone, that's me having to basically squat down, I don't know, nearly a foot. Yeah. Because most of the girls I'm fighting are 3 to 4 inches shorter than me. Right. So I have to get onto their level and then drop another, say 6, another 6 inches or so that I can go after their legs. So it depends on what the person is. And a lot of the girls I've actually been fighting, I was thinking about it. I'm like, they all come from jiu-jitsu schools. Mm-hmm. So, when we're game playing, I'm looking at it like, okay, well, I'm not afraid of their grappling abilities, because we're all, roughly on the same level as far as, belt levels and ranks. But I know my striking was more of my strength against them. So it, and who knows, maybe the next fight, the girl's going to be more of a striker and we're going to end up grappling more. Right. It all depends on what's going to make a smart game plan. Mm-hmm. So.
And do you know who's, do they have someone in mind for you, or?
Not yet. We talked to them after the fight. They definitely were interested in bringing me back on for Cowboy Fight Series 4, which is December 21st down in Sterling, Virginia. So right now we're going with most likely, hopefully, we're on the card. But ultimately it depends on, do we get an opponent? Because I know that even they have a huge reach with being able to bring in fighters, as far as Hawaii, they have a lot of connections, and, which is the great thing about them, is that they're super professional, and they make me feel like, they make you feel like a superstar as an amateur fighter, because they make sure that you get taken care of, and they're very transparent with everything, and they're great with getting back to you. But with my record and my weight class, it's hard, because a lot of girls now, there's a lot of girls at 115, a lot of girls at 125. Once you get to the, I don't call us bigger girls, but the 135ers are a little bit harder because you end up having a lot of girls who either cut down a lot to make 135, or you have some girls who probably more naturally a 125er going up in weight. And that's where I end up, a lot of the girls I fought have probably been, actually, I think the first girl I fought has dropped down to 125 since our fight. Because for their height, it just makes more sense.
Right, yeah.
Which is where I've always been able to kind of dominate because I am tall and whatnot. So I'm hoping that as we enter November, I'll get a name. I know they're getting ready for their Muay Thai series at the end of the month. So I think they're going to focus on that before matching up a bunch of people right off the bat. I know they have their 4 men's title fights. So I'm hoping that, get an opponent and who knows from there. So where I'll be on that card. But fingers are crossed.
Yeah.
I think they have enough time to find someone. Because it's also harder with girls. The closer to a date or event that you get to, the less likely you're going to be able to find a girl that can cut down to the weight or whatever. Because girls, 1, we have a hard time cutting weight because we naturally carry more body fat. Mm-hmm. And 2, finding a female fighter is hard to begin with, let alone find one at a specific weight, one with a record that is, fair and matched and all that. So, because, we've been doing this I've been training for 6 years, actively trying to get fights for the past, I'd say about 4. And we went from first fight, almost waited a whole year before getting a second fight. And then third fight was about 9 months after that. And then this fourth fight was 9 months after that. So, and it was actually the first time we've ever been able to fight twice in a calendar year. Yeah. So that was a big thing for me. I'm like, man, this is awesome. I'm fighting twice in 2019, hopefully a third in December. So I think they have enough time to find someone, or at least be like, hey, we need you at this weight by this time. Right. So, fingers crossed.
If any promotion can do it, it'd be them. Mm-hmm. They got the name and they're building their thing pretty quick.
And that's the cool thing. Because they have that name, I think it attracts a lot more people. And not even just like local people, but, I've seen people, they've brought in people from all over the country. I don't think they really worry about, having to not, be able to get a good quality group of people. They want to get quality fighters and that, they want it bad and have the talent that they do. Because the fights that they have, they're incredible. Like, I remember watching from the first fight card, we were able to watch probably most of the second half of the card after my fight. And I was like, these guys look like complete professionals. Yeah. 1, because the rule set that we get to fight with down in Virginia, it's full rules or full contact rules. Really, the only difference between amateur and professional is just the timing. Right. 3-minute rounds versus 5. But every fight was exciting. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a boring fight from them. Yeah. That's probably me. From the clinching. Clinching around the fence. Sorry, guys.
But there was one fight this past time. And it was this, like, big, muscular black dude against this dude that just looked like he just got off the couch playing Fortnite.
Was it the second fight?
And I think it was.
I saw the knockout.
That dude, he drilled, like, boom, boom, boom. That dude took so many to the face. It was crazy. And the crowd was just like, oh. Like, every hit he took, I felt so bad.
I know the guy that won, he was out of the red corner. I think just about everyone from the red corner won that night.
That's crazy.
We had good luck that night.
But, like... This dude, man, I felt so bad. And it's funny because, like, the skinny white dude, when he was leaving the cage after he just got knocked out, he yelled, like, fuck. I'm like, dude, be happy you're alive. Yeah. Like, don't yell because you lost the fight. Like, you had no chance.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If you're fighting, across any of the states, you're an adult. You're 18 years old or older. There was a girl actually there that was 19. Yeah. And she kicked butt. You're an adult. Right. You're also, so you're well aware of what could happen or what couldn't, all the things. And what I think a lot of people, struggle with, a lot of young fighters, not even young fighters or not experienced fighters, you see this with the experienced ones as well. They don't act like professionals. Yeah. And here's the thing, I'm in this to become a professional. Mm-hmm. So it's that whole, that cliche quote, like, don't dress for the job that you have now, dress for the job you want. Right. Similar thing here. Act like a professional. You're an amateur, but act like a professional. Exactly. And they even said it in the rules meeting with the referees, like, look, after the fight, or during the fight, whatever, it's not the time to, take it up with the ref or take it up with the commission.
Mm-hmm.
Go home, talk to them on Monday morning when the commission opens back up, whatever your complaint is. And I've told your wife, Heather, all this all the time, like, losing's part of the game. I'm going to do my damnedest not to. However, who knows? With fighting, a simple not keeping your hand up can and then a knockout, or you never know what can happen. But I've told her, I'm like, if that time ever happens with me, I don't want people coming up and saying, oh, you fought really well, you did a good job. No. Leave me be. Give me 24 hours for anyone who talks to me. Throw me a candy bar. Give me 24 hours of sulk, and then I'll be back in the gym.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You see people, they get mad, they get frustrated, and people cry. They cry when they win, which I've never gotten. I told Sean, I'm like, if that ever happens, I want you to just slap me then and there.
Yeah.
I don't care how you are. I'm like, if I ever cry from fighting, that's it. But, that those 9 minutes do not define your entire career.
Right.
If it goes 9 minutes, whatever. But it's just, I don't know, not the time to get mad.
Right.
Especially when that particular promotion takes care of its fighters so well.
Yeah.
Like, I remember at the first card, these two guys, they were, I think, pretty experienced for amateurs. I think one was like 9-0 or 9-1. The other one was like 9-2. So they both had well over 10 fights or close to 10 fights at the time. And they went at it, and they had a terrific fight. And obviously, you can only have one winner. And they were talking to the guy that lost, and he's like, he was just really upset and really grumpy about it. But Cowboy came over, and like they still wanted to give him potential sponsorship money to help him get started. Like, because even though he lost, he still put on an awesome performance.
Right.
And I thought that was really, really cool. That even though it's a fight, someone's going to lose, but because you still put on a great performance, like the promotion's still willing to take care of you afterwards.
Exactly.
And I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and it's not about the yelling and jumping on the cage and
Don't get me started with that.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, that's my same thing. You're not, especially as amateurs, you're not trying to sell a fight. Like, after you win, act like you won. Don't act like an idiot.
You're not McGregor.
Exactly.
Everyone if you are a professional, I'm not a fan of him personally.
Right.
I don't like the way he conducts himself because I know it's completely fake.
Right.
And I don't know. For me, I'm going to be myself. Yeah. I'm actually, I was thinking about this, like rewatching the fight and watching my walkout and everything. Sean was teasing me. He's like, I like the energy that you had before the fight, because I was kind of just bouncing around at the beginning of my walkout song. And I'm like, I feel things. Like, that's just,
go by what you feel.
I am more me in the cage than any other time.
Yeah.
Because it's only you in there.
Exactly.
So I think fighting shows so much about someone's character, because you can find out how quickly you can break someone.
Yeah.
Or how tough someone is, or how unwilling they are to break.
Right.
And I'm telling you, I don't think I can really talk smack on anyone. I'm too.
Yeah.
That's just not me.
Yeah, it's just not your personality, right?
I'm more of I like to be goofy and, just kind of that dorky, awkward, tall and awkward giraffe. That's why I always hashtag tall and awkward.
Yeah.
Like,
but you're only like that in like real life. But when you're going up to like you seem like a total different person, even though it's you. It's just another side of you.
Yeah, it's.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like serious and focused and.
It's that like.
Just ready to go.
Uncut, unedited version.
Yeah.
Like, how many people are going to bring a cookie into the cage so they can eat it because they want to win a contest?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's just me.
So have you ever really sat back and just like reminisced on everything from when you started, even just the whole kickboxing for exercise thing?
Yeah, honestly, it's been coming up a lot this week because we have some newer people in the gym and just different people at work, and we're like, how do you get into this and that? And my friend Leanne came up from Nashville for the fight, and she's actually the one who I can really thank for getting me in the gym, because we grew up, we went to middle school, high school, all that together, and she went to school in Nashville, Tennessee, so she would come up in the summertime, and I had just run my third marathon, because I was a runner, big into cross country and track in middle school and high school. and we wanted to do something different. Like we tried weightlifting in high school a little bit. I kind of lifted. Didn't really know what I was doing. Didn't really know I still don't know what I'm doing. Let's be real. You've seen me lift before and how often I need you to re-show something.
Yeah.
But we just want to do something different. So we got in our heads, we want to do kickboxing because that sounded really cool. So when we did the initial search at the time, like we really didn't find anywhere nearby that did it. But at the same time, we had no clue what like Muay Thai was. So I'm sure if we searched that, we probably would have gotten, different results and things too. But she ended up finding Delaware Dragon Martial Arts, where I'm fighting out of now. And she called Sean, left a message. He got back to us, told us the schedule. So we went in and got there, got settled. Beginning part of our warm-up is 20 minutes, kind of like a HIIT workout, just doing a lot of plyometric stuff, body weight stuff, jumping jacks, jump rope, all that. And I'm an asthmatic. I've had it pretty much under control. Yeah, I got about 5 minutes into the warm-up and was dying. And I had just run a marathon.
Yeah.
Like, I did that, that's hard. But I did that without it, like, needing my inhaler or anything. Mm-hmm. This, 5 minutes, and I was just gassed. I was done. It was just so completely different.
Different animal.
Yeah, and, man, the first couple of weeks, I was so sore. Because, like, I didn't have any sort of upper body at all. It was all, just running and legs. Couldn't do push-ups. Used to do the push-ups on my knees. And it was, oh gosh, it was awful. And, so about, I'd say about a month and a half into it, we started doing they would do some strength and conditioning, like a 20-minute thing, after all the kickboxing classes on Saturdays. So Leanne and I started doing them with some of the guys at the time that were at the gym. And one of those Saturdays, Sean was like, hey, you should fight. I was like, okay, that sounds cool. I don't know. It's like, I remember in high school thinking, like, I wonder what would happen if I ever got into a fight. And if you knew me in high school, like middle school, I was that kid, glasses and braces, complete ugly duckling staged. I never grew out of the awkward stage, but just, you would never catch me in a fight.
Right.
You probably could count in your fingers how many times I would actually talk to you.
So what do you think he saw in you that, like, did he just want you to fight, or he actually saw something?
I don't know. We never actually had that conversation. I should probably have that conversation.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull that up. I'm going to ask him about it.
It's going to be interesting. Yeah.
And it was just, I don't know. I always, always been, I'd say a hard worker. So maybe that was it. I don't know. I don't want to ask him. But, so after that, he honestly didn't think, he told me, he's like, I didn't think you were going to stick with it after the summer after Leanne left. He's like, I just kind of assumed that when she was gone, you wouldn't stop. I was like, no, I actually like it. So once he was like, you should fight, and I was like, okay. We started adding in jiu-jitsu, which we do all no-gi. We don't do any rank. So we just do kind of more of a submission style, MMA style grappling. And then I ended up competing in my first jiu-jitsu tournament later that December, because I remember it being at the end of my semester of college. And then after that, towards the end of December, beginning of January, I started in with our traditional program, which has a base in Taekwondo. So I now have a black belt in Taekwondo because of that, which he had told me. He's like, oh yeah, you don't have to do any of the testing. I just want you to, learn the breakdown of the technique. And I'm forever grateful for him having me do that, because my understanding of the different kicks and ways to punch and things like that the knowledge just has become so important to me. And then once we got to the end of that month, he's like, okay, yeah, you're going to test. So I ended up testing for different belts and things like that. That's actually when I met Heather, when I started doing that, because she started in November, and then she started doing jiu-jitsu shortly after that. So we became jiu-jitsu buddies in that. And then she was actually higher rank at the time than me when I started doing the traditional class. And then from there, I would say the first 2 years, I just kind of went through the motions of everything. And then finally, there was another girl in the gym at the time who she wanted to fight. So it was kind of like finally became that time of, okay, if we're actually going to fight, we got to get on this. We got to get working. So from there, we were supposed to be on the same fight card. My opponent pulled the beginning of many, many girls dropping out on me. And then from there, I finally That fight was supposed to be in February. The girl pulled out, honestly, a couple of days after we got matched. And then I got scheduled to fight in April. We were just talking about this earlier today. My opponent I found out later she was in some sort of halfway house or something. Her probation officer wouldn't let her fight. It was just an all-around bad situation. I was really mad because I remember that day I was actually at my fight weight. I remember thinking, oh, cool, I can have a little bit of ranch with my dinner tonight. Yeah. Which is honestly a blessing in disguise because I looked up that girl sometime later, and she ended up her first fight, she tapped out to punches. And then her second and third, same thing. Like she just got pummeled. It wouldn't have been a real fight, honestly, because So blessing in disguise. And then later that summer, in August, I was able to make my amateur debut, which, just I got out there and swung for the fences. And I hate watching that video now because it's just awful technique amongst anything. But I got out there, and afterwards, I remember thinking, like, yeah, this is what I want to do. Like, that was fun. Yeah. Because that was one of my worries is when I got out there, I'm like, what if I get hit and I freeze? Yeah. But nice thing is working with a bunch of guys, even when they're going easy, they still hit hard. And right. I remember she threw that first punch and it landed right on the mouth, and I was like, oh, okay, this is okay. We can go. And I fought that mostly with my hands down. And just...
What's the hardest hit you ever got, that someone hit you with?
Like rocked with?
Yeah. Because I remember, was it your last, not this past one, but the one before that, where it made a loud noise?
Probably
It was like, and I was like, oh no. It was like right when the fight started.
That was the second fight.
The second fight.
And that was partially because, so we had watched the girl, in every single one of her fights, she basically ran out, circled, and then tried to drive her opponent to her corner. Yeah. When she came out for me, she didn't run. And I made the stupid mistake in my head thinking, what is she doing? That's not what we watched. Yeah. And she came out and clocked me. And it's like, in a fight, it all feels the same. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't remember, it was a heavy shot, but it's like, it's different in the moment.
Right. All that adrenaline going and stuff like that,
Like, I don't feel like I'm ever, hurt,
and you don't feel it until after.
Oh, yeah, you don't feel it until after. After my first fight, man, I felt like I got hit by a truck. Yeah. That hurt. But I don't know, probably sparring. But it's not even a hit to the head that hurts. Right. I'd say the worst is if you get...
Nose?
No, that honestly,
That always makes me tear up.
It does for the first couple of times, and you get used to it. I remember the first time Sean had me spar... I remember he hit me right in the nose, and I teared up right away. But it's you get over that, you get used to it. Yeah. So I get hit in the nose now. It's oh, okay, keep your hands up.
But wait till the time someone breaks something in your face.
Bad juju.
No, if that happens. It happens.
I mean, there's times I definitely heard crunches and stuff, but I would say the worst is when you catch your shin on something, and I'm still because I'm still newer, I'm still conditioning my shins and things like that. Yeah. Catching shin to shin or knee to shin, that's what hurts. Ugh. Because that's just I don't know. This is.
I hate when I just hit my shin on a table or something.
See, that doesn't bother me now. I've gotten to the point now where there's certain spots on my shin it doesn't hurt as bad. Right. Especially on my left leg, whatever it is about my left leg, I can throw harder shin to shin, or we have a bag that's filled with sand to help you condition. I throw better on my left leg, but the right, there's a couple times I catch and it's oh. But I'd have to say probably about 3 weeks before the fight, we were practicing, how to come out for the rounds and things like that, and I had been throwing my combination and stepping off to my right and throwing with my left leg. Well, one of the things we practice is don't become predictable. So I came out and I threw the combination backwards. So I stepped with my left, or cut my corner with my left and threw with my right. My partner I didn't say this to my partner because I wanted to, not be predictable. He ended up turning into me, and I caught right between, right on the top of my foot, lower part of my shin, nice soft joint part. Yeah. I caught his elbow there. That hurt. That's probably been the worst in training. because that swelled up right away, and that was a good golf ball size swelling there. Like, I couldn't, it took a while for me to fully be able to extend my foot up and down and things like that. And even right now, like, it's still a little bit bruised. Like, it's definitely like a bone bruise. Like, I hit, like, I don't know if I hit on bone or hit on tendon or what. Like, I was feeling it today, and it's like it's still bruised, and that's been 5 weeks now. So I was worried about that for the fight, but I figure, I'm like, well, if I throw a lot of kicks, I'm not gonna feel it then. I'll feel it afterwards. I'll live. Yeah. But my concern was just that first week of getting that swelling to go down. I didn't throw kicks on that leg for at least a week.
You know what? It was cool. It wasn't. I don't think I ever saw it in other fights, but in this past one, I saw a couple people that none of us knew come up to like take a photo with you. And I mean, the guy was pretty. He seemed weird.
I think he had a beer in his hand, so I can.
Yeah, he seemed a little weird, but
I can inference some other things there.
But what really impacted me was seeing that little girl.
That was the cutest. I mean? That was the cutest.
So what? Like, how do you feel you're impacting young girls? Not just to fight, but now like women are being more independent and protecting themselves and knowing what to do and all that kind of stuff. Like, because I'm very strong about, like, if I had a daughter, I want to make sure she knows everything to do so she don't need a man in her life. If she wants one, she wants one.
She don't need no man.
But she don't need a man to do anything. You know what I mean? Because I hate when women talk that way.
Yeah.
So.
So I am an assistant instructor at my school, and when my head coach and our head instructor and owner he does some military contracting if he's away. Like, I run the school and stuff. There's a lot of reasons why I fight, so I can't really give like one particular reason. But one of those reasons are my kids. Mm-hmm. My students I teach, I call them they're my kids. And I had a couple of them. I've always had at least one of them at each fight. I had a group of them there this past fight, and if you listen to the fight video, you hear me go, "Go Miss Becca, go Miss Becca." It made me tear up when I actually heard it on the replay. And one of the things that I remember from a couple years ago, the student's no longer training with us, but I can't remember if she was in our Little Dragons program, working her way up into the junior and adult program, or she was already at the junior and adult program. But she was having some like motivation, issues, and one of the things that she told her dad was, and from what she saw, because at the time Sean's other instructor was a male black belt, Sean was a black belt, a couple of the other kids who were black belt were all boys, and she goes, "Girls don't get black belts." And when they told us that, I was like, man, like, I gotta get my black, I gotta, sure, like, yes, absolutely can. Yeah. But it wasn't even so much like, because Sean's very much like, he, it's not like he tells the girls they don't get black belts or anything like that, but that was just what she had observed, is all the current people at the school were boys. Right. And that had black belts. And that has always stayed with me. That is one of the things that always stayed with me. And now I'm really happy to say, it's like, I've had classes that are almost all girls, both in our Little Dragons program and our juniors and adult program. There's, in our MMA and our Muay Thai programs, it's 50-50. And that's one of the really cool things for me to see, is like, when I first started, there's all, boys and guys and stuff in the gym, but now it's very much equal. Yeah. And I absolutely love it, because, I mean, I love my kids, I love all of them, right. But it's really cool to see more girls doing it and more girls getting into like the MMA side. Yeah. And I know a lot of grappling schools and jiu-jitsu schools, like, just from being on different social media groups, it's, you get one or two, and like right now I'm the only adult female at our school, but like, I know I'm a role model, like no matter what, like, and I will always conduct myself with them in mind. Right. 100%. I didn't necessarily be like, oh yeah, I want to be a role model, like I have to be this, but it was assumed with the position. Like, when I became an instructor, when I became a leader in the school, like, you're a role model. Right. And I remember even there was a women's jiu-jitsu camp I did, the first one that they held a couple years ago. a lot of the girls were like, we've never even seen a female black belt before. And this is in jiu-jitsu. I'm a black belt in Taekwondo. But they're like, we've never even seen a female black belt. Like, oh my gosh. And it's I feel like it's grown a lot in the past couple of years because of, I don't want to say easy, but learning jiu-jitsu as self-defense is, I think, the easier of, various martial arts to pick up.
Right.
It's easy to learn, okay, I can learn these 3 moves and it's going to, help protect me or at least get me somewhere safe. So it's growing. It's still a very small percentage.
Yeah.
I think it's like 7% or something like that of martial artists are women.
Oh, so that little.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's still, that was from a couple years ago when I read that, or maybe it was like 8%, something, I don't know. It's still a huge majority of men, but it's growing and it's definitely, I think, gaining in popularity. And I'm glad to be there. And I think a lot of, having women in places like the UFC and that, those female champions being household names and being respected, having some of these women have, better striking than men and things like that. I think that's played a great deal. Like Ronda Rousey, she is what she is. I'm not a huge fan of her. I think she attempted to be a good role model, but she also had that kind of same star power that McGregor does, where she was good at kind of starting things even if they weren't there.
I think her mentality just wasn't there. Like her strength of mind just wasn't there because she hasn't lost.
Yeah, and that's
used to losing.
Yeah, and that was definitely the reason why she never bounced back.
Yeah.
But I 100% what she did for women fighters, female fighters.
Oh,
like
definitely.
she made it like, hey, we're here and we're here to stay.
Yeah.
100%. How she conducted herself against her opponents, not 100% fan of. You do you. That's not me.
Right.
But I think that definitely drove a lot more women to be like, oh, well, she can do it. I can do it.
Well, it's like Amanda Nunes isn't a big talker.
No.
Was she starting out? I don't think she was.
I don't
Before
think
she
so.
got good.
I don't think so.
Because she just came out of nowhere.
She did.
And all of a sudden she just knocked
quietly,
people out.
She quietly rose through the ranks, and she's
a monster.
She's powerful. However, anyone can be beat. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm not in the UFC yet, but one day, who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
I'm not saying. Not trying to start smack talking now. I'm just saying anything can happen.
Oh no, you're totally right. I mean, it's just one slip of your arm goes one way that you didn't want, and you could be submitted, or you didn't put your hand up in that split second, and you'd be knocked out. So it doesn't, But what did you feel when that woman brought up her daughter? You know what I mean?
I was just.
What did they say to you?
She just said, my daughter really wanted to take a picture with you. Her boyfriend was fighting on the card.
Oh, okay.
So that's why they were there. But she wanted to take a picture with me. I was like, like I just felt really honored that this little girl wanted to take a picture with me. And I thought that was really cool. Like I would rather take pictures with kids, compared to like whatever the random guys that come up, because I think it's weird. But I'd rather be the kids fan or the fan of the kids or whatever. Their favorite fighter versus any adult.
Exactly.
Because
kids
don't lie. Kids are very brutally honest. So if they want to take a picture, like I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
And I actually ran into the woman's boyfriend at the hotel the next day. He's like, thanks for taking a picture with her. Like, good fight and all that. I'm like, pleasure. Like literally, the pleasure is all mine. I thought that was so cool. And that's the way that Cowboy conducts himself. Like, I remember at the first fight, he was hanging out with us and talking with us. Anytime someone came up and asked to take a picture, so absolutely. Like he took time to talk to everyone, take pictures, whatever. And even the kids, like our kids, before the fight started, they were able to go get pictures with them and stuff like that. I know Aaliyah went up and she was like, Mr. Cerny, can I take a picture with you? He was like, sure. I just grabbed her by the shoulder and took a picture, big old smile. And in the picture, she is cheesing super hard. But like, I love the way that he conducts himself. Like he is 100% probably the most genuine person I've ever met.
Right.
He's a great guy. And that's why that's part, one of the biggest reasons I like fighting for his promotion is one, just him, two, his whole team is super professional. So,
right.
But I think that it speaks volumes the way that you conduct yourself with everyone, be them adults or your littlest fans. And
well, I think another thing that kind of draws them towards you is that your nickname's the Giraffe. It's not something like the Killer or the Hurricane or something like.
It's goofy and awkward and 100% me.
It's like you think fighting, you don't think a giraffe.
No, because if you see giraffes fight, just like swing their necks at each other. But
exactly.
But I mean that's why I love the giraffe, because giraffes are kind of these awkward, weird animals, and I'm also an awkward, weird animal. And
and it's just something soft. You don't think of it as a hard animal. You know, and it just, I think kids just feel more compelled to be able to just like come up to you.
Yeah, and I think also like the group that like I've been to MMA fights where there's certain fans for particular fighters, and some of them it's just like, my goodness, sit down. Like calm down, please. Like our group is so much. It's a family. Like our gym is a family, and that is my fight family. Like, this is the first time I didn't have a blood family there, but I had my family there.
Right.
The people that matter and count and support me and see me, in fight camps and help me in fight camps and support me in fight camps. Those people were there, and to me that's all that mattered.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's the other thing too. Like, me when we got out of the cage and we got our stuff packed up and everything, and we were all hanging out. Like, you can tell, like we're a good group of people. Like, it's not like we're a bunch of rough people yelling and screaming and yelling expletives and all that. Like, no, we're a family.
Right.
We're a family friendly group, and I like to think of myself as a family friendly fighter.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be. I mean, it's the same thing with kind of like bodybuilders, I think. I mean, it's just like you see a certain guy or a certain girl look a certain way, and you think, oh, they're angry or they're,
Yeah.
And then you have those, you have certain fans. I mean, you see it in every sport where the person's yelling because they want, they're thinking UFC.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, what especially for a guy, it's a lot harder to get to UFC than I think it is for a woman.
I think that's partially too because there's just less of a population.
Right. But, well, that's the only reason.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's. I'm not taking anything away from it. It's just that it's just for women it's a lot newer.
Yeah.
So I mean,
and I
there's not too much to pick from.
And a lot of women, I mean, it's starting to change now because you're starting to get girls in there who are a lot younger that kind of grew up with MMA versus finding it later. But you look at a lot of people, a lot of the girls that are in Invicta or in the UFC, this is almost like a second career for them.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them are already, they've been through college, they have masters. I know there's one girl, I can't remember who she is, but she's like an astrophysicist. Julia Avila, I think she's a geologist or something. Like they're very well educated women. Like they had a change of career, or they're still working. I know a couple of girls, top 10 in the UFC, still have regular jobs. Marion Renault, she's a gym teacher, so like she's still working full time. I think Jermaine Aronimi is a police officer.
Oh yeah,
which is why they stopped. She has some like longer times in between fights, I think, because she's still active. Look at Stipe Miocic, like he's a firefighter. Like there's a lot of people who still have regular jobs. Like I'm working full time, and especially as an amateur fighter, obviously you don't make money off your fights. But I don't know. I think it's MMA less so in boxing. Boxing has more of a standard of how many amateur fights you have before you go pro. But MMA, you see a lot of people who 1, 2, 3 fights, especially girls.
Paige Van Zandt had like one fight.
Yeah, a lot of girls have like 1, 2, because it's hard for us to get fights. Yeah. And I'd even consider it like, screw it, we're gonna go pro now because I can't get fights.
Right.
Because there's less of a pool for us. But there's nothing that says you have to do this before you go pro.
Oh yeah.
Whereas you look at any other sport, and it's
whatever they have a protocol,
whatever the 0.5% of people actually make it.
Exactly.
Whereas in MMA, like I could if I wanted to, so long as the state approved me and I submitted my license and forms and all that. Oh yeah, you're a professional athlete now. It's a lot easier to get there.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to make it as professional with 1 or 2 fights? Who knows? Some people have a great great wrestling background, or they had a really solid Muay Thai background, and it makes sense for them to make that jump. But it's an easy sport to become a professional. Easy as in you fill out some forms and that's about it. Yeah. There's no strict protocol that says you have to have X amount of fights. There's an unspoken standard. You probably should have at least 5 fights.
Right.
But that's just, and it's going to vary state to state. One state could say, hey, no, I'm not going to license you as a professional. You go, across the border to another state and, oh, yeah, sure. You get licensed in that state. So
yeah, exactly.
They don't always talk to each other.
Yeah.
So. But that's why, you see a lot of girls now who, they did karate their whole life, or they started with jiu-jitsu at a young age. Now you see a lot more girls starting in jiu-jitsu because parents can see either their parents are trained, or they say, okay, this is a great place to take my kid to learn self-defense, but they're having fun with it.
Yeah.
So. But I'm super proud of seeing so many more girls getting into it. Even if they're my karate kids, or if they're the kids that do MMA with me, I think all martial arts it's such a positive environment to put your kids in, because a lot of sports they're not going to really learn from, whereas in martial arts there's so much perseverance, and obviously it goes from gym to gym, or school, or academy, whatever you want to call it, of how easy it is for them to go through ranks. I know for us, you earn your rank. We don't hand out belts. You don't pay for belts. We would never do that.
Yeah.
Because that's just not us. Because we're here to teach you, if you don't prepare for it, you're not going to pass. So there's so much to learn with martial arts.
Right.
Across the board. Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, karate, Krav Maga, you name it. Judo.
Speaking of pro fighters.
Oh, our girl Hope Chase?
Our girl won last night.
I
thought it was tonight.
No, Invicta's usually Fridays. So,
I was so mad. I was like, oh shit.
So I didn't watch it because I got home late. So I was watching. I was checking the live updates online. So the reason Ben's bringing up Hope Chase is she was actually, I think it was her last amateur fight. We were on the same fight card. Yeah. And I was actually the first fight of the night, which I hope I am never the first fight of the night again, because I felt super rushed. We ended up getting it done. We got a TKO that night, so that was fun. But she was, I think they were the kind of the headliner before the intermission. 2 girls I follow them both on social media now, but her nickname is the Hurricane, and it is well deserved, and she just got picked up by Invicta and just got a win last night, so congrats to her. And we're actually the same weight class, so who knows if we'll ever meet again. But that girl tapped really quick too.
This is why they call her Hurricane.
That's one of them. Cool thing about her too is she's got a traditional martial arts background as well. So I love the karate girls.
You know what the thing is though? I don't like that.
What, the show off at the end or karate?
No.
Don't hate on karate.
No. I don't. I like the thing at the end, because she thinks she's being nice by doing the handshake after she just won.
It's respectful.
But then she does that.
I think that, I don't know. I'm on the fence about that, because it's half kind of trying to make it a signature thing. But we were actually talking about that. But yeah, I'm not.
I know. I understand what she's trying to do, but you wouldn't do that if you lost.
No.
You know what I mean? So I think it's just being a poor sport when you win.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, to each their own. That's not my thing. I don't ever foresee myself climbing up on a cage, because I don't think I'll ever be able to kind of do a muscle up to get up there, because I've seen people fail, and it's really funny when they fail.
That's embarrassing.
Because I don't want to attempt and not get up there.
Right.
But I don't know. I think the win is enough. I think you enjoy the win. There's no need to showboat afterwards, especially because you get a finish. Especially with submissions. Submissions are purely you just made that person break.
Yeah.
You made them break mentally.
He pretty much gave up.
especially if you watching it, she has a great anaconda lock. She sets up the rear naked choke. She's slowly sinking in, and once she got set, the girl tapped immediately. Yeah. So I don't know how she got there. I saw some pictures of her laying some good ground and pound on top of the girl's guard. So I don't know if she knocked her down. That's how it got down. She took her down. Round. Yeah, it was early I think relatively early in the first round. So she's watching her past fight on the card that we were on. She's a girl that knows how to blitz. Yeah. Like, she comes out heavy and she comes out strong. So I think
she's very aggressive. She's very muscular.
Oh yeah, she looked great at weigh-ins.
Jeez.
She absolutely looked great at weigh-ins. She looked
was
strong.
Was it you that told me, like, does she go to a gym or she just trains with her family or something?
Her traditional martial arts, I think, it's a family-owned thing.
Yeah.
Because I think her parents were both in the corner the last time, or at least Dad was in the corner from the amateur fight. I don't know about this time. But her sister fights as well. Her sister fights the weight class below. But I think she goes somewhere else as far as, like, grappling, because I want to say she wrestles. She definitely have that wrestler build. But I think the traditional martial arts side, I think that's... Because I think her... Was it White Viper? Is that what the back of her rash guard says? I think they're out towards, like, the Pittsburgh area or Ohio area. But, yeah, I think it's... I want to say that's family-owned, or at least the family's heavily involved in it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, give me first round finish. Good for her.
Yeah, I mean, ever since I saw her fight that one time, like, she's had my eye.
Watching her at weigh-ins, she has intense weigh-ins.
Yeah, she's
like
me.
like I think I have a pretty good weigh-in, like, stare down, but she's got it on another level.
She's scared me.
No, like I said, we're the same weight class, so who knows?
In
my head, because my weight class is relatively small with how many girls are actually at that weight, like. I feel like at some point you end up going to fight everyone.
Yeah.
Especially in this area, there's not a lot of us.
This just came out that Conor McGregor is charged with assault.
Again.
He punched that dude. That dude didn't even move.
No. Like, yeah. And that goes back to, here's the thing. Once you put yourself in the spotlight, you have to conduct yourself like there's a camera on you at all times. Because especially someone like him, there's always a camera on you.
But people argue that's why he's doing it.
I was surprised. I mean, he threw
because he'll get off with that. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to go to jail or something.
Well, I mean, he threw
owe money.
He threw a handcart into a bus and didn't really.
What's her name? Rose Namajunas is still, like, shooken up by that.
Yeah. Well, he got glass in someone's eye. I think it was what's his name? I can think of his Instagram handle. He actually trains out of Jackson's. He's a flyweight guy. But, like, he got glass in his eye. I think a couple other people, like, they got cuts and stuff. Because I remember the shuffling on that card afterwards. Like, they had to redo a lot of that card because, half the people on that bus got hurt. It's ridiculous. Because
a lot of that stuff he does, I just think it's pre-planned.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Because how else are you going to stay relevant?
Relevant when you don't fight?
He's not going to fight.
No.
People always think, I'm not fighting unless I fight Conor. He's not going to fight. He makes too much money to fight. Why? Why put your body through that when you don't have to?
Exactly. He'll fight if he needs money. I see that.
Yeah, but he's not going to need money for a while.
No. And here's the thing. Unless he were to come back and get his belt back, he's not relevant anymore.
Yeah.
Because, and I think Khabib has his card.
Yeah.
Was it Nate that fought him first? Yeah, Nate fought first, and obviously it exposed his ground game. And it's not like he necessarily did anything wrong as Khabib. Khabib was just so much better at what he does.
Yeah, if they fought again, Khabib would win.
Unless Conor's only chance at beating him would be beating him in the opening rounds on the feet.
On the feet, right.
But once you get past round 2, 3, like
but Khabib's stand up against Dustin was pretty good, though.
I'd argue against that.
Really?
I think he absorbed a lot of shots, so he could circle.
So he went to the ground, right?
Because every single time he took Dustin down, it was in Khabib's corner.
Right.
So I think Dustin let him Dustin let himself get his back to the cage. Where with someone like Khabib who likes to take down off the cage, he should have stayed in the middle, in my opinion. Khabib took and absorbed those shots to help move Dustin.
Right.
Because if you saw, like, Dustin was running in, but Khabib was able to then circle back out, take down, and that's all she wrote.
Right.
So, Khabib is... I mean, if he wanted to throw, I'm sure he could, because that's how he got Conor. Because he used a fake, like he was going to go in for a takedown, and then land that big right hand.
Right.
And that's what shook Conor and then got him down. And no, before you even bring it up, he is not fighting St. Peter. No. St. Peter, that's below St. Peter's weight class. And he had a hard time because St. Peter was a 170 dude. Then in his last fight against Bisping, he went up to 185 because where the stomach issue was, he couldn't cut the weight. So I don't see him going down to 155. He's retired.
And also, like, their coaches need to shut up. It's always the coach that says something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's why
I don't think even if like Khabib said like, oh, I don't want to fight Tony. I want to fight George. I'm like, for what? It's not going to help you. He's not the same as he used to be.
No. You're fighting someone who is out of his prime.
You know, him and Bisping was a good fight because they're both old. Mm-hmm. They were both done, you know. But Khabib, I mean, it wouldn't even be the same as he was in his prime, and that's always going to be the talk.
It's to get those names and saying that you beat so and so.
Yeah,
it was
it's dumb.
Holly,
fight Tony, that's going to be a good one.
It's like the thing with Holly, or not Holly, with Rousey. Holly beat Rousey. Mm-hmm. Rousey was done.
Right.
Like Holly destroyed her and just mentally that was it. So to bring her back and feed her to Nunez was fair. I mean, Nunez was going to win that fight.
Yeah.
Nunez probably couldn't have thrown a punch and probably would still won that fight because Rousey she was done. Holly destroyed that. But it's all about, picking up another person's name. Like, I beat so-and-so. Yeah, you beat them late in their career when they were already done, not at their prime.
Yeah, exactly. And that's always going to be the talk of, like, any sports show that's out there or any MMA show that talks about it.
Yeah, you see that a lot.
It's not going to help you out, you know?
I mean, you see the same thing in boxing, too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of boxers, they'll retire and then they'll come back and then,
Yeah,
they beat
so-and-so, but they weren't in their prime.
Exactly.
You know?
How fair of a fight, like, unless you're fighting someone at their prime and you beat, like, it just...
Yeah, exactly. And then getting off fighting, I got two that aren't, like, fighting. This just happened and it pissed me off.
Oh, cool. We're going to talk about animals now. My favorite things.
Yeah, it's not a draft.
Fighting, food, and puppies.
Did you see this?
Woman caught in a Bronx Zoo exhibit to Tom. Oh, you're just I'm sorry, you're just dumb.
Yeah.
That's just dumb. It's like the kid that was what's the gorilla's name? Harambe? Oh, God, this is going to make me... Ron White, you can't fix stupid.
Yeah.
She get eaten?
I wish.
That actually looks a little superimposed.
Nah, there's people watching it. This is a video, if it ever plays.
Wait, why isn't there a bigger fence?
There is. It's behind it, but they don't even know. The zoo said they don't know how she got in.
What?
Yeah. But, I don't know.
Did you watch it earlier?
Yeah, so what, she gets in there and she's just, like, slowly, like, dancing, like, taunting it to come get her. You know what I mean? And then the lion's, like, coming closer.
Oh, there it goes. Even the lion's like, hey, idiot, get out of my pen.
Let's see. No, I got so much going on here. That's why it's going so slow. But yeah, so I mean that's pretty much what it was.
Stupid.
She just like she gets in the thing and she's just like dancing. That's when I want the animal to attack them.
Well, like
don't do shit.
Like I said with the gorilla, the Harambe or whatever.
Yeah.
And the parents were like, oh, kid fell in there. Like, sorry. Sometimes it's
Oh no, I completely agree. Because you gotta you have to understand that we're in there. When you're in their space,
you just took up their territory. Like they're instinctual. Like,
right.
They may be captive, but they're not domesticated by any means. Like they're
right.
You're in their space.
Right. It's not like they don't play by our rules. No, you have to remember that they're a different species. Now. Yeah, you're food. You're something I want to eat.
Like watch cats.
She's pretty thick, so she's got a lot of meat on her. So he's gonna take a big bite.
He's like looking at
floss his teeth with her hair.
He's like, "Ooh, you know you're not supposed to be in here, but I'm gonna eat you." I don't know, stupid as stupid does, and I think there's not enough common sense in the world.
I feel bad because there was a while back there was a young girl who was doing like a internship at a zoo, and she went out, and I guess she left one of the doors open to the lion, and the lion came out and attacked her and just mauled her to death. Mm-hmm. And that was her passion, that she loved animals and all that kind of stuff, and that happened to her. But then this stupid lady,
complacency kills.
Oh,
complacency
it's so
is stupidity.
It's like the one time you want something to happen like that, it doesn't.
I hope she enjoyed her 30 seconds of fame.
Yeah, like what does that even? What's the point?
Yeah, people are dumb.
I don't know. And I thought this was funny. So a Florida burglar.
It's always in Florida.
It's always safe. Florida man. I feel bad because they my cousin and my aunt, my uncle, they just moved from Florida to Georgia, and at my cousin's school, he just started high school. They call him Florida man because he's
poor kid.
I was like, damn.
You just gotta run with it and be positive about it. But everything happens.
Make light of it.
Well, I feel like Florida is like one of those weird like southern states where like you get into Florida and it's like you're backing up in like in New York or something because it's just you get all the old people that go down there and retire down there. Then you have the people who are in the boonies and the Everglades, and then it's just an odd mix of people.
But it's funny because it says he broke into this person's house to make himself breakfast, and he tells the person to go back to sleep. And it says alcohol may have been involved.
I don't think may. I think you can just scratch out and was involved.
It was alcohol and like he was maybe high. But it was funny because I saw that. Yeah. And I saw that 19-year-old Marine. Oh, yeah, he was drunk.
What?
An unlocked rear door. Oh, yeah. But that happened to my grandparents one time. They live in a trailer park, right? And I don't know if they had their door locked or not. And it was kind of like dinner time where the sun was going down. It wasn't completely dark yet. And my grandmother was watching TV, and this dude walks in, sits down in my pop-up's chair, and just started watching TV with her. Didn't say anything, just started watching TV. And she's like looking at him, and then she yells for my pop-up, like, Norm. He's like, hey, what are you doing in here? And he's like, hey, sorry, man. Like, and then he just left. I was like, that's the weirdest thing.
I'm a simple person. Sometimes I don't get people.
Yeah, I mean, the things that cause something like that, I never understand it.
Lock your doors, people.
And also,
that's crazy. You know what's crazy? My brother. I'm not gonna tell anyone where they live. However, like they don't keep valuables in the house. Like that's not them. Unless outside of their animals, but they won't always lock their doors and stuff. Like I said, like they don't keep cash in the house. They don't keep anything expensive. Like, so there's one time I went over to the house and the storm door was closed, but the front door was open.
Right.
I didn't think anything of it because I think I have a key to their house, but I've honestly never used it, so I couldn't tell you which one it was. So anyways, I go in the house. I grabbed what I went there for, and I left. And my brother texted me, he's like, "You left the door open." I was like, "No, I didn't." I'm like, the door was like that when I went in there. I assumed you left it like that because you guys never lock your door. But it was his fiance's daughter. She walked out of the house behind him and just didn't close it. Oh. But I'm like, to me, like, I walked in. I'm like, okay, whatever. They don't lock the door anyways. I'm like, what difference does it make?
Well, it's like one time I came home from work one night and I opened the door and Heather's key was still in the door.
Oh, I do that in my office all the time.
I was like, what the hell? I was like, I don't know. But
It's
no,
like when
everywhere
you
I go, I lock my doors and stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's how I am, and like even like my bedroom door, I lock that stuff all the time too, unless the dog's in there. But I used to do that a lot at work because I work out while I'm at work during my lunch break, and I have my lunch box, I have my backpack, I have my purse. I'm basically a pack mule when I walk in there. So a lot of times I'll turn the key.
Yeah.
But now we got these fancy new like little like card swipe things like you see in hotels.
Right.
So now we just flash our badge in front of it and it opens up.
Oh yeah, that makes it easy.
And it's also been funny because not everyone they've like slowly gone around this week and changed all the locks on the door. So not everyone had a badge yet. So I've been keeping my door closed just to.
I wish they had that for houses.
I'm sure you can do that.
Really?
Yeah, because I think
that'd be more secure than.
Well, Nest makes one because my friend Leanne, she would always forget her keys inside. However, she never forgot her phone.
Right.
So yep. So they had the little thing on the doorknob, and it was like a little box over top of it, and she would just flash her. I guess she had like an app or something with it, but she just put her phone in front of it and unlock.
Ah.
Yeah, because her husband was like, "You keep leaving your keys in here." So.
Yeah, I don't like the key thing. It's like they gotta make something new with that.
Yeah, just get a little. Nest makes it because there's like
but the whole thing with Nest is they've been so broken into like so easily.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once you involve technology, someone's gonna find a way to hack it. Like
yeah.
Like when I was teaching in the actually it was my own high school. I was teaching something. I forget if we were showing a video, if it was PowerPoint, and it was only in one class that they would really do this, and the screen would either go black, it would freeze, it was super weird. I'm like, this keeps happening in only one class. Mm-hmm. And they have block scheduling, so it wasn't always at the same time. So I talked to my former social studies teacher, and then at the time he was the department head. I was like, is there like an app that the kids can like get and control like the projectors? He goes, yes. He goes, I tell him straight out, like if I find out who it is, like they're going to get detention and school suspension, whatever. I'm like, and I knew exactly who it was. I never could prove it. So like, but the thing, like I always joked off like, oh, we have a ghost in the classroom. But I'm like, these kids are messing with me and trying to like punk me because of technology.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's funny because like I see I'm on TikTok.
Yeah, I haven't gotten
there
yet.
Even though it's a little kids, it's a kids thing.
No, I've been seeing more athletes do it too now. Like I feel like
it's because you know why I got it is because I watch Gary V. You know who that is? Mm-hmm. He's like a business dude, and like he's all like updated on like the new social media, like what's up and coming. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And he was like, he's like 5 years, TikTok's gonna be bigger than Instagram.
I can see it.
So I was like, all right, let me hop on it. So I started posting. I post my videos that I do on here and stuff like that, my little clips. And but there's mostly people do dumb shit on there, you know.
It's just like a new version of
Vine. And this one kid takes a video of himself. He's in like this huge like college gym during a basketball game. He gets on their Wi-Fi, and he starts playing this like weird song, and everyone's like looking around and stuff like that. And he's sitting there on his phone and he's videoing it. I'm like, see, it's just dumb little things.
It's like. Just like in fighting, how anything can happen.
Yeah.
Once you involve technology, someone will find a way to hack it.
Oh, yeah.
There's always a back door, there's something, and there's people getting smarter and smarter and smarter about it, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's good and it's bad.
Oh, yeah, I always joke about that. Like, I work with I work for a maritime training provider, so I work with a lot of retired ship captains and things like that. And most of them, like, this is like their second career, so they're in their 60s, 70s and up. And I always joke with them, like, because, you know, working with different technology is, you know, it's a blessing and a curse. Because it's like, one, you have to keep yourself up to date with all this technology, and then once you get competent in it, then they're coming out with something new.
Yep.
And it's always fun, like, with them, like, they navigate by the stars, and they can sail these huge ships, and then we get working on something with
phone.
No, they're not that bad, but it's just like, you know, the way that technology has built and built and built. It's like keeping them on top of it and keep myself on top of it. Like, I don't have TikTok. I don't know. I barely use my Twitter.
Yeah.
I need to get better at that social media stuff, but
yeah, like, I mean, it's tough too when you're in something and you have to promote yourself and all that.
Just keep it
stuff.
Keeping up with the cool kids. Like my nieces and stuff, they say stuff. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Heather and I talk about it all the time. I'm like, ask your nephews what this means, because I don't know what these kids are talking about.
Well, all they're doing,
trying to keep myself relevant.
But all they're really doing is kind of bringing back what was already there.
Yeah.
There's nothing really new.
No.
You know what I mean? Except for like little dances or certain words.
There's dances to every song now. Like I can't
people
dance to
just
begin
all
with.
you gotta do is make stuff up.
Yeah.
That's all you do is just make stuff up and it looks stupid. Someone will say, "Oh, that looks stupid," but it could go viral or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what was that Drake song? The "In My Feelings" challenge, where people were like jumping out of the cars and dancing.
Oh, the Kiki.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Which what's his name? He was one of the Power Rangers.
I don't know.
Jason Frank David, whatever his name is. Him and his daughter did.
Oh,
Is that
he did. He was the Green Ranger.
Yeah, he was green and silver, or green and white.
Green and white, yeah.
Yeah, he did a pretty funny one.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff. But
I totally am like, if I win by knockout, I want you to do one of these dances.
he'd probably be like, wait till my movie's done.
Yeah. I can't wait to watch that movie.
Oh, me either. That should be funny. But yeah, that's it. And I'm glad you got to be on finally.
I know. I was waiting all week. I was going to text Heather, and I was like, then you texted me. I'm like, oh, I've been waiting all week for you to mention it.
Well, I wanted to wait for like a fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Either before it or after. I was like, I'll wait till after.
After.
You know, because a lot of people do it before, and I'm like, I want to hear what they think after.
Oh, we'll do a post-Christmas one.
So
hopefully, fingers crossed.
So next time you'll have a bell, and then you'll be pro. Like, it'll be all good. And thank you for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure.